Langdon Manor, a grand colonial house with its stately columns and sprawling front lawn, had been a cherished landmark in the small town of Brooksville for over a century. Built in 1882, it was the pride of the Langdon family, known for its lavish parties and elegant gatherings. However, after the tragic disappearance of its last owner, Margaret Langdon, in 1923, the house fell into disrepair. Rumors of ghostly apparitions and inexplicable phenomena began to swirl, driving away all who attempted to restore its former glory. In 2021, Sarah and Michael Reynolds, a young couple with a passion for historic homes, purchased Langdon Manor, eager to breathe new life into the once majestic estate. They were aware of the house's reputation but dismissed the stories as local folklore meant to scare off prospective buyers. The first few weeks in the manor were a dream. The couple marveled at the intricate woodwork and the grandeur of the spacious rooms. But as they began renovating, odd things started happening. It began with small, seemingly innocuous occurrences, objects misplaced, the sound of footsteps echoing through empty rooms, and a faint whispering that Sarah could never quite place. One chilly October evening, as Sarah was working late in the manor's library, she heard the whispering again. This time it was clearer, almost as if it were coming from right behind her. She turned around, but no one was there. Her heart raced, and she quickly tried to dismiss it as her imagination playing tricks on her. The next day, Michael discovered an old, dusty diary hidden behind a loose brick in the library wall. The diary, bound in cracked leather, belonged to Margaret Langdon. As Michael read through the diary, he found entries that grew increasingly frantic and disturbing. Margaret spoke of strange occurrences, whispers in the night, objects moving on their own, and an unseen presence that seemed to watch her every move. Her final entry was a chilling confession of fear and despair, ending with a cryptic message: "They are here, waiting." Disturbed but resolute, Sarah and Michael decided to investigate further. They reached out to a local historian, who provided more details about Margaret Langdon. According to the historian, Margaret had been a solitary woman, estranged from her family and increasingly obsessed with the house's dark history. Her disappearance had been a mystery, with no evidence of foul play or a clear explanation. Determined to uncover the truth, Sarah and Michael began to explore the house more thoroughly. One evening, while examining the basement, they discovered a hidden door behind a wooden panel. The door led to a small, dimly lit room filled with old, dusty furniture and a large, antique mirror. The mirror was covered in thick layers of grime, and when Sarah wiped it clean, she was startled to see a shadowy figure reflected behind her, a woman with a sorrowful expression. Terrified, Sarah and Michael decided to consult a medium. The medium performed a séance in the manor, and during the session, the air grew icy cold, and the whispers turned into anguished cries. The medium revealed that the spirits trapped in the house were those of Margaret Langdon and her family, who had been wronged and betrayed. Their spirits were bound to the house, unable to find peace due to unresolved conflicts and hidden secrets. The medium performed a ritual to release the trapped souls, and as the ritual concluded, a sense of calm settled over Langdon Manor. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and the house felt lighter, as if a great weight had been removed. The Reynolds family continued to live in Langdon Manor, but the house was never quite the same. The eerie whispers ceased, and the unsettling phenomena became a distant memory. The manor, once a symbol of fear, was transformed into a home filled with warmth and new memories. To this day, Langdon Manor stands as a reminder of the past, its history intertwined with the Reynolds story of restoration and redemption. Though the whispers have faded, the house remains a testament to the ghosts of its past and the new life that overcame them. For several years, Langdon Manor flourished under Sarah and Michael Reynolds' care. The couple embraced their new home, hosting gatherings and revitalizing the estate's charm. Yet, despite the initial peace, an unsettling feeling remained just beneath the surface. The occasional cold draft and the occasional creak in the old house were shrugged off, but they never fully erased the memories of the haunting. One summer evening, as Sarah and Michael prepared for a garden party, they discovered a hidden compartment in the library's grand oak desk. Inside were several old letters and a photograph of a young girl, her face partially obscured by shadows. The letters were addressed to Margaret Langdon and detailed a troubling narrative about a family dispute and a hidden treasure. But the handwriting was unfamiliar and the tone increasingly desperate. That night, Sarah dreamt of the girl from the photograph. The dream was vivid and unsettling. The girl stood at the foot of Sarah's bed, her eyes wide and pleading. She tried to speak, but no sound came out, only an overpowering sense of sorrow. Sarah woke up gasping, her heart pounding. Michael, who had been sleeping soundly beside her, awoke to her distress and reassured her. But Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something important was being left unsaid. Determined to understand the connection between the letters, the photograph, and the girl in her dream, Sarah began to investigate further. She consulted the local historian once more and learned that the photograph was of Emily Langdon, Margaret's younger sister who had also vanished under mysterious circumstances years before. Emily had been a lively child, much loved by the community, and her disappearance had been a source of great anguish. The historian revealed a long-forgotten family secret. Emily had been part of a sibling rivalry over a hidden inheritance, a family treasure buried somewhere within Langdon Manor. It was believed that the treasure was linked to the unresolved conflicts that plagued the Langdon family, including the betrayal Margaret had written about. Sarah and Michael, driven by a newfound sense of purpose, decided to search the manor for the treasure. They meticulously examined every nook and cranny, following clues from the letters and the diary. Their search led them to the manor's old servants' quarters, a part of the house that had been sealed off for years. As they explored the dusty, forgotten rooms, they discovered a small, hidden vault behind a panel in the wall. Inside the vault, they found a chest filled with gold coins, jewelry, and old documents. Among the items was a letter from Emily Langdon to Margaret, expressing regret and asking for forgiveness. It was a heartfelt plea that revealed Emily had hidden the treasure to protect it from those who would misuse it, including her own family. With the treasure now uncovered, Sarah and Michael felt a profound sense of relief. They decided to donate the wealth to local charities and historical preservation efforts, honoring the Langdon family's memory and the legacy of Emily's tragic life. They also organized a memorial for the Langdon family, inviting descendants and local residents to pay their respects. The day of the memorial was marked by an unusual sense of tranquility. The whispers that had once filled the manor were now replaced by a serene silence. The air seemed lighter, and the oppressive atmosphere that had lingered for years was gone. The spirits of Margaret and Emily, finally at peace, seemed to leave the manor behind, content with the resolution their stories had found. Langdon Manor continued to thrive as a beloved historic site, its haunted past a distant memory. Sarah and Michael remained in the house, cherishing its history and ensuring that the legacy of the Langdon family was remembered with respect and compassion. The once turbulent estate had transformed into a symbol of renewal, where the past had been acknowledged and honored, allowing the present to flourish unburdened by the shadows of old ghosts. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you liked this story. Months passed since Sarah and Michael Reynolds had laid the Langdon family's troubled spirits to rest and donated the hidden treasure. Langdon Manor had become a celebrated historical site, drawing visitors who admired its restored elegance and the story of its redemption. The couple enjoyed a peaceful existence, relishing their role as stewards of the manor's legacy. One crisp winter morning, Sarah received a letter that would soon shake their tranquility. The envelope was old-fashioned, with elegant cursive writing that bore the return address of a remote estate in New England. Inside was a single sheet of parchment, written in a style reminiscent of the late 19th century. Dear Sarah and Michael Reynolds, I have heard of the noble work you have done to restore Langdon Manor and free the spirits bound there. However, I must ask for your assistance with a matter of great urgency and secrecy. I am the great-grandson of the Langdon family's long-lost relative, and I believe I hold the final piece of the puzzle concerning the estate. Please contact me at your earliest convenience. Yours sincerely, Ethan Langdon. The letter was signed by a man named Ethan Langdon, who claimed to be a descendant of the Langdon family. Sarah and Michael were intrigued but also wary. They decided to meet Ethan at his estate, an old Victorian mansion on the outskirts of Boston. When they arrived at Ethan's home, they were greeted by a man in his late 40s, with a demeanor that was both earnest and somewhat anxious. Ethan explained that he had recently come across family documents suggesting that there were still unresolved issues related to Langdon Manor's history. According to his research, a hidden compartment within the manor might contain an additional, crucial piece of information regarding the Langdon family's fate. Ethan produced an old map, meticulously drawn, showing a previously unknown section of the manor's grounds, an area that had been obscured by subsequent renovations and landscaping. The map indicated that the compartment was buried beneath a specific part of the estate's gardens. Sarah and Michael were skeptical but agreed to assist Ethan in the search. They returned to Langdon Manor and carefully examined the area indicated by the map. After hours of digging, they uncovered a small, rusted metal box buried beneath the soil. Inside the box was a collection of letters, photographs, and a final will from Margaret Langdon, detailing her last wishes and revealing a long-hidden truth. The will contained instructions to divide her estate among various charitable organizations and a final letter addressed to her lost sister, Emily. It detailed a deep regret for the family's betrayal and an acknowledgement of the pain caused by the inheritance dispute. The letters also mentioned a hidden journal kept by Emily, believed to hold the key to understanding her fate. Armed with this newfound information, Sarah, Michael, and Ethan continued their search. The journal was eventually found in a concealed drawer within the manor's old library, the same place where the initial investigation had begun. The journal provided a heartbreaking account of Emily's life and her struggles, revealing that she had been manipulated and betrayed by those she trusted most. The revelations in the journal led to a renewed sense of closure. Ethan Langdon decided to publish a book about the Langdon family, incorporating the full, untold story and acknowledging the contributions of Sarah and Michael in uncovering the truth. The book was a hit, shedding light on a forgotten piece of history and bringing renewed respect to the Langdon family's memory. Langdon Manor continued to thrive as a historical landmark, now with a more complete and accurate history. Sarah and Michael's dedication to preserving the manor's legacy was celebrated, and Ethan Langdon's book provided a final, fitting tribute to the long-suffering spirits whose stories had finally been told. The manor, now free of its past hauntings, became a symbol of resolution and redemption, where the echoes of history were honored and the past finally allowed to rest in peace. With Ethan Langdon's book published and Langdon Manor's history fully unveiled, the estate settled into a new chapter of serenity and respect. The manor's transformation from a place of shadows to a beloved historical site was celebrated, and Sarah and Michael Reynolds felt a profound sense of accomplishment. Yet, as the years went by, an unexpected event would challenge the peace they had worked so hard to achieve. One rainy evening, as Sarah was preparing for the manor's annual charity gala, she received a mysterious phone call. The caller, an elderly woman with a trembling voice, claimed to be a descendant of a distant relative of the Langdon family. She spoke in cryptic terms about a debt left unpaid and requested a private meeting. Intrigued and somewhat apprehensive, Sarah agreed to meet the woman at the manor. The visitor, Mrs. Eleanor Hawke, arrived late that night, her presence both commanding and sorrowful. She carried an old leather satchel and wore a heavy, dark coat despite the rain. In the cozy sitting room of Langdon Manor, Mrs. Hawke revealed that she was the last living descendant of a rival family that had once clashed with the Langdons over land and inheritance. According to family lore, the Hawkes had believed they had been wronged in a complex legal dispute, and their grievances had been buried along with their lost claim. Mrs. Hawke's family had always suspected that some of their rightful inheritance had been misappropriated, and that the Langdon family's misfortunes were a consequence of a curse placed upon them. Mrs. Hawke, a scholar of her family's history, believed that the curse might be linked to the unresolved issues regarding the manor's hidden compartments and the estate's wealth. Sarah and Michael were skeptical but agreed to help Mrs. Hawke investigate further, given their past experiences with the manor's mysteries. They began by exploring the old Hawke family documents Mrs. Hawke brought with her, which detailed claims and historical records of the dispute. Among the papers was a cryptic letter, indicating that a hidden portion of the estate might hold the key to breaking the alleged curse. Following the letter's clues, Sarah, Michael, and Mrs. Hawke embarked on another search of the manor. Their efforts led them to a neglected portion of the attic, where they discovered a concealed door behind a wall panel. Inside was a small, ancient vault containing a set of documents and an old ledger, revealing the true extent of the inheritance dispute and a series of transactions that had unfairly enriched the Langdons at the Hawkes' expense. The documents indicated that the Langdons had indeed wronged the Hawkes, but there was also evidence of subsequent attempts by the Langdons to rectify the wrongs. Margaret Langdon's final will had included provisions to make amends, but these efforts had been overshadowed by her tragic fate. Realizing the complexity of the situation, Sarah, Michael, and Mrs. Hawke decided to take the matter to the local historical society, which could mediate and oversee a fair resolution. The society agreed to help, and after thorough examination, they facilitated a reconciliation between the Langdon and Hawke descendants. The resolution included the restitution of the remaining assets related to the historical dispute, alongside a new memorial dedicated to both families, acknowledging their intertwined histories and the resolution of their conflicts. The memorial, unveiled during a heartfelt ceremony, celebrated the shared legacy of the Langdon and Hawke families, bringing a final sense of closure. As for Langdon Manor, it continued to thrive, its past traumas finally put to rest. The manor became a symbol of reconciliation, showcasing not only its restored beauty, but also the power of understanding and addressing historical wrongs. Sarah and Michael, now seasoned custodians of the manor's history, dedicated themselves to preserving its legacy and ensuring that future generations would remember the lessons learned from its tumultuous past. The echoes of Langdon Manor's history, once filled with whispers and shadows, were now part of a story of healing and renewal, where the ghosts of the past found their peace and the future was built on a foundation of respect and truth. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you liked this story. With the reconciliation between the Langdon and Hawke families complete, Langdon Manor settled into a well-deserved peace. The manor, now a symbol of historical restitution, welcomed visitors and celebrated its newfound reputation for harmony. Sarah and Michael Reynolds continued their stewardship, content with the resolution they had achieved. Yet, as the years went by, an enigmatic twist would once again alter the course of their lives. One autumn afternoon, as Sarah was sorting through some old estate documents in the library, she stumbled upon a hidden compartment within the desk she had discovered years earlier. Inside was a previously unnoticed envelope, sealed with wax and marked with an unfamiliar crest. The envelope contained a letter written in Margaret Langdon's handwriting, but dated much earlier than any of the previously discovered documents. The letter revealed something astonishing. Margaret had written a confession about the hidden treasure and the family's internal conflicts, but it also mentioned another secret: the existence of a second, much more valuable inheritance. This inheritance was not a material treasure, but a collection of ancient artifacts and manuscripts of immense historical significance that had been concealed in a secret room beneath the manor. According to the letter, the location of this hidden room was encoded in a series of intricate symbols and riddles included in the letter. Margaret had hidden these artifacts away to protect them from those who might misuse them or seek them for personal gain. She had hoped that, one day, someone with a genuine sense of justice and integrity would uncover them and ensure they were handled appropriately. Intrigued by this new revelation, Sarah and Michael embarked on a quest to decode the symbols and locate the hidden room. They enlisted the help of historians, cryptographers, and even a renowned treasure hunter, all of whom were fascinated by the challenge and the possibility of discovering historically significant artifacts. After weeks of intensive research and exploration, they finally uncovered a hidden passageway beneath the manor's old wine cellar. The passage led to a cavernous underground chamber lined with shelves and display cases, each containing ancient manuscripts, rare artifacts, and historical relics of profound significance. Among the items were original manuscripts from early American settlers, rare colonial-era maps, and even artifacts believed to have been lost for centuries. The discovery of these artifacts was monumental. Sarah and Michael, with the help of experts, organized a major exhibition at the National Museum. The exhibition drew significant attention from historians, scholars, and the public, who were captivated by the rich history and the story of Langdon Manor's hidden legacy. In recognition of their efforts and the manor's restored reputation, Sarah and Michael were honored with a prestigious award for historical preservation. Langdon Manor became not just a symbol of reconciliation but also a beacon of historical significance, its stories and treasures celebrated across the nation. As time passed, the manor's legacy continued to evolve. It became a center for historical research and education, hosting lectures, workshops, and educational programs for students and scholars. Sarah and Michael remained dedicated to preserving its history and ensuring that the story of Langdon Manor and the lessons learned from its complex past would inspire future generations. The final twist came when Sarah and Michael discovered an old journal hidden within the manor's library, written by Emily Langdon. In it, Emily had detailed her own hopes for the manor's future, expressing a desire for peace and understanding. It became clear that the resolution of the manor's mysteries had fulfilled Emily's wish, providing a sense of closure and fulfillment to both families. Langdon Manor stood as a testament to the power of history, reconciliation, and the pursuit of truth. The echoes of its past, once filled with strife and secrecy, were now part of a rich and inspiring legacy that continued to captivate and educate all who entered its doors. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you liked this story.